Hi, my name is Jonathan Proffitt, financial advisor with Edward Jones Investments. I got into this about 5 years ago whenever I was going to school at this school, actually. I was doing the general education degree. And then I went to Campbell University for business administration. And then I was thinking about going to being a lawyer, and they had a degree in trust and wealth management, so I went and got a master's in trust and wealth management. That was my passion. I loved active duty, single parent. Here I am. One of the things I picked up from the business school was some of the problems I see with people who are running their own businesses. And one of the things they forget is that they're really running your life and your business have a lot of things in common. So before I get going, what I'd like to know is the people here who are doing business, what do y'all do, if you don't mind my asking?
Hey, question, so what do you mean when you do?
So what is your business? Like, what is your field? What do you work on? What are you doing? That way I can kind of cater this as best I can to you.
Education.
Education, medical, education, mines. What do you do, sir?
I teach accounting at Fayetteville.
Teach accounting. Okay, so this is actually going to be one of the good ones for you.
Yes, my business is too, by the way.
Yeah.
Business finance.
Business finance? Hospitality? That's a very interesting field.
Business consulting, marketing, and sales.
Okay, so you do a lot of the reaching out to people and things like that, right? And you, sir?
I make electronic communications devices and robotics.
You make them? Yes. Oh, rock on. Okay, cool. So some of these things will be useful for y'all. Some of y'all know a little bit about it already. Let me go over here and do my clicker. Do you have a remote? Do you have a remote?
You can do it on the screen.
You can do it on the screen? How do you do it on the screen?
Justin will show you.
Yeah, Justin, show me.
I'm not sure. Oh, yeah.
No. Oh, he went to the end.
I did, sorry.
It's okay.
This one. You just.
I just touch it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, as business owners, employees, and people in our lives, we have, one of the biggest limitations we have is our time. Whenever you're running your own business, you still have to run the finances for your business and the finances for your life. These things are almost identical. You're giving up your time for a paycheck. As a person, as an individual, you are basically a business unto yourself. So whenever you're running your finances for your business and your finances for yourself, those two things have a lot of commonality. They both take up time. You also have the financial pressures. Your business can lose money. You cannot be paying the light bill at where your business is. You cannot be paying the light bill at your house. So you have like double the pressure that you had before. For a lot of people, that gets confusing and they end up letting one thing take over the other. They don't keep them separated. They don't run them. Another problem that you're going to run into is we have employees who are trying to hire people. We have people that are working for you. They have their own set of problems. Anyone here have employees that they work with? So as you know, they don't show up, they quit, you have to do interviews, all these things take up even more of your time. So you're almost running like a second family in a lot of ways. And then you also have tax issues. Anyone like paying taxes? Besides the accountants, and I guess you like dealing with the taxes.
Taxes are what we pay for civilized society.
They do have their uses. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that statement. I'm a soldier, taxes pay my salary. I'm a reservist even today. So taxes are an essential thing, but we don't want to pay more than we have to. Does it all make sense? So I just touch it? How do you, right down here, right? Rock on. All right, so what you're trying to do is you're trying to find a balance, right? You're trying to balance your work, you're trying to balance your life, and when you're doing this, you want to be able to do your job, building electronics, doing marketing, doing accounting, teaching. You want to be able to do, actually, I missed you. What do you do?
I own two businesses. I do marketing and I'm also a professional dancer.
You're a professional dancer? Oh, I used to take ballroom dance lessons. That's a great field. Like Fred Astaire and stuff? Or
actually belly dancing.
You do belly dancing?
Yeah.
You know Debbie?
Yes.
Ah, okay. So whenever you're doing these things, you want to be good at them, right? So whenever you're doing your instruction, doing your marketing, you want to be good at that field. If you're doing all your admin tasks, you're taking care of your business, you're doing taxes, you're doing payroll, all these different things, that takes away from your ability as the business owner or the entrepreneur to do your job as well. Does that make sense? Do I follow that? So you want to be good at both, and you want to be good with your own personal finances. If you're broke, then your business isn't going to be doing as well. Does that make sense? All right, so balancing those three things is important. Sometimes you might have to give up running your payroll yourself and saving that couple of dollars in order to be a better valet dancer, in order to be a better electronics builder, constructor, engineer. And what you can do to do that, you can employ people to help you. Now, me as a financial advisor, my stuff only goes towards investments, that goes towards retirement. For accountants, that goes towards tax savings. And then your attorney, that's a whole other field, and they all do different things, and they all have a cost, and they all save you time. So you're paying for something in order to save time. Does that make sense to everybody? Does that follow? All right, so that's your three professionals that I work most closely with in the field that I work in. Okay? Everything has a process. Whenever you're doing all this, you want to ask yourself these 5 questions. I use this with my clients. I use it when I'm talking with business owners. You can use it yourself. You don't have to come to a financial advisor and pay me to ask these 5 questions. I like it when people do, but you do not have to. Does that make sense? So the first thing you want to ask yourself is, where are you at today? You're building your business is already established. Maybe you're profitable, maybe you're not profitable. At some point, though, you're not going to be running that business anymore. You will get older. You either want someone to take over that business, you're going to want to retire, you're going to want to sell that business. So you have to ask yourself where you'd like to be. When would you like to retire? Is that 40 years from now? Is that 50 years from now? Is that 15 years from now? It's entirely up to you. These are goals that you're setting for yourself. So ask yourself, where am I today? Where do I want to be? That way you can see the difference between the two and where you need to get to. Make sense to everybody? All right. Can I get there? You're doing things. You're building your business. You're saving money. You're investing money. You're getting clients. You're doing all these things. At the current rate, ask yourself, will I be where I want to be? Maybe that's you have $1 million in the bank. Maybe it's your business is being run by your kids and you're just collecting a check. If that's not, the answer to that question is not yes, you need to ask yourself, how can you get there? That means you're going to have to change something. You might have to start paying someone to handle your finances. You might have to start paying a bookkeeper. You might have to start paying an attorney so that you can do your job better. Or maybe those things are too expensive, you've been paying for them, and you need to save that money. Does that make sense to everybody? The other thing is you have to be able to evaluate it. If you hire a financial advisor, that person partners with you, they work with you throughout your life and make sure you're on track. If you do it yourself, you need to set a schedule and figure out how often you want to review your progress toward your goals. Make sense? Follow that? Go. Alright, so everyone has a business goal. You want to be profitable, right? That's really, we're trying to make piles of money or make some type of legacy, right? We want to pay our bills, we want to take care of our kids, send them to college. We all have our own individual goals, but in the end, we're in a business, we're trying to make some money, right? Alright, so you're going to be working on that, and then you're also going to be trying to create value outside your business. Now, that would be where you can pass it on to your kids. That would be where you're adding something to your community. Some of us have community-minded goals, like the Care Clan. They're adding something back to the community. These are all things that you can work towards when you decide to do your goal. And then how are you going to preserve your business? So if you were to get sick, or you were to get injured, or you were to say, I'm done, but I still want to make money off this business, how do you do that? Make sense to everybody? Okay, those are all questions you want to be asking yourself. There you go. Alright. These are all things you can pay for. I recommend staying away from business credit cards if you can help it. The only benefit I think those have is if you have an employee who needs to put gas in a tank, it lets you track your expenses easily. The problem is you're paying someone to use their money. And that's a cost. So you want to pay those types of things off quickly. Payroll is something that a lot of times is worth paying someone to do. Right? If you're doing it yourself, what happens with an entrepreneur a lot of times is that company bank account starts to look a lot like their own bank account. And the separation of the two becomes more and more easy. It becomes more casual to pull money out of the company coffers. It's not that they're stealing, it's their company, they can do it. But if you have someone running your payroll, you can also pay yourself. And that creates a clear line and a delineation so that your business can grow and you're putting money back into your business. Does that make sense to everybody? That's something that I learned in the business school. That's something I've learned from talking to entrepreneurs. They will go in and they will spend the company money without moving to, because those two budgets are no longer separate. Traditional loans for your business, now those can be useful. They do have a cost, but you have to do an analysis on that, and an accountant's actually a little bit better for helping you with that than an investment advisor. Because you can talk to them, see how much of it's deductible, how much you can get back on taxes, and what the cost-benefit. Anyone ever heard of cost-benefit analysis? Right, know what that means? All right, so you want to do a cost-benefit analysis on any time you do payroll, business credit cards, loans, or margin loans. Margin loans are against anything you have invested. So if you have $100,000 in McDonald's stock, you can take out $50,000 in a margin loan. Still not something that I exactly recommend doing unless you actually know it's useful. Does that make sense to everybody? There we go. So let's talk about the retirement. That's where my life is, my lifeblood is. That's where most of my knowledge is. I am not an accountant. I am not an attorney. I help people plan their retirement and plan their investments. My idea on the benefit of investing, especially retirement investing. Has anyone ever heard of the equation you use when hiring an employee, how much the employee actually costs per hour? Anybody heard of that? So when you hire somebody, it's usually about 70% of the cost of the employee per hour is their salary. The other 30% is something that you pay as a business owner, either in training, retirement, benefits, or just other costs around the business, giving them office supplies, things like that. So if you spend $7, just to make the math easy, if you spend $7 an hour on somebody, it actually costs $10. Does that make sense? 5% of that usually goes to some type of retirement. Now, in my opinion, that's one of the best 5% you can do because it's tax deductible. It's tax deductible to the employee, and it helps retain employees. So companies that have retirement, those people are about 5 or 6 times more likely to stay. If you have even just a small retirement plan. People like benefits. Millennials like benefits a lot. Gen Xers like benefits a lot. And baby boomers are actually kind of paying for the benefits right now. Another thing that's important is identifying a key person in your business. So if you have someone that is crucial to the operation of your business, a lot of times it'll be you as an entrepreneur who's running your own business, that person a lot of times will be you. That there might be other people that are in there too that have clients of their own, that have public recognition of their own. Losing these people loses business for your business if they're a good employee. So part of retirement is keeping them. If you do the math on that a little bit, you can start analyzing how that actually saves you money. And not having to train new people, not having to build new clientele with these people. A lot of times, like we have a 2-person branch office. You have the financial advisor and what we call a BOA. They're the branch office administrator. That person is the first face that every client sees when they walk in the door. The first face. They know what they like to drink. They know their kids' names. They know what they were doing last month. They know what college a kid's going to. They know that a lot of times before the financial advisor does. When that client walks in, that BOA and that client start talking. A lot of times if you lose your BOA, you lose your clients. That person is critical to the operation of my business. Your front desk people, your medical, you have like the nurses and staff, people that do a lot of that human dialogue. They're very, very important to your business. Retaining them saves you money. Does that make sense to everybody? Follow? Anybody have any questions? You can ask questions along the way. I want it to be educational, so questions are welcome. All right.
So how do you, in your business there, the BOA, they can have leverage over you if they know their criticality to you. So what makes them not use that leverage against you?
Well, the idea is that you're operating as a team. So we call it the branch team. I think a BOA absolutely, because they get some of the bonuses that the FAs get, they get their regular raises. I think they should absolutely leverage that to get their paycheck higher. I think they're a critical part of the business, and I think they're reversely underpaid. So if you have a good FA and BOA team, you never have to do that because they're going to.
The salary for the BOA or this Edward Jones salary? What's that? You set the salary for the BOA or this Edward Jones?
Edward Jones actually pays it, but it comes out of the branch's profit and losses. So I am not technically an entrepreneur. I am basically a franchisee. I have to buy the franchise like you would with McDonald's. But that's really how it works with Edward Jones. So I watch the profits and losses of my own branch. But the paycheck for me and the BOA comes from Edward Jones. So I have to keep up with it. I have to make sure she's taken care of or he's taken care of. but I don't actually write the check and give it to them. So Edward Jones is handling the payroll, which is kind of where we go back to saving time. If I was doing payroll, if I was doing all the taxes, if I was doing the bookkeeping for my business, I would have almost no time to do my job. Because I spend almost every day, all day out meeting people, and then I cram as many appointments in there as I can, and then I still have to administer the accounts, and I'm a single parent. So there's no way that I would be able to do those three things. I would want to hire somebody to do it, because my time is more important to me. They're specialized in it. They can do it way faster than me. Does that make sense?
Do you expect a BOA to have a financial background or more of a PR background?
Having a little bit of information in sales is probably good for them. But honestly, if they know admin, that's more important than knowing the finance, because you have the financial advisor in there, and they pick up, some of the key words, but they're not legally allowed to answer financial questions anyway, because you have to have licenses. And the licenses doesn't mean you're good at it. It just means that the federal government said, okay, you've taken all the tests, basically the bar for financial advisors, and we believe you're not a criminal. You can now answer financial questions. So we can have that separation between the two.
Jonathan, did you say you guys, your salary is determined by your P&L statement or influences your P&L?
Yeah, it's heavily influenced by, yeah. The BOA more so than the financial advisor.
So is that salary on a month-to-month basis, or are we going a year?
No, it's month-to-month.
Month-to-month.
Month-to-month, yeah. The BOA is the one that really is at the whims of the branch itself.
So if you're not out beating the bushes and you don't get...
So the BOA has an incentive to push me to go find clients.
Absolutely, so I need you to be outside.
Exactly. So it kind of creates a symbiote relationship. I still think they're grossly underpaid, though, but that's just an example of a key person for your business, because they're 50% of the office right there. I mean, and they know everything about everybody. So identify your key people. It's kind of the underlying point there. Yeah. Did it go to the next one? Yeah. Whenever you build a business, if you are the key person for that business, and entrepreneurs usually are, whenever you get older, there's no stream of income if you take a vacation. If you get injured, that's gone. So you have to think of a way to retire and then pass your business along. So if you have a business, think about what do you want it to be? Where do you want your business to be in 40 years? Do you want to sell it? Do you want it to stay in the family? Do you want to create like an empire, an accounting empire, an engineering empire, and have like your name on billboards across the country with people doing things? If that's your goal, work towards that. But you have to have it sustainable. You have to have it with continuation, continuity. Well, there we go. All right, so that's where I was talking about your business. So whenever you have a business, engineering, right? I can invest people in a lot of things. I would not invest them solely in engineering. I would not invest them solely in financials. I would not invest them solely in entertainment. Your business is an investment. It's not one necessarily that has stock like McDonald's does, but it is an investment. It is an investment that is only in one thing. So in order to diversify that investment, it is important, in my opinion, that you look at retirement for you and your employees. You can build more. Think of it this way. You work for $1, right? Then you turn around and put your dollar to work, and your dollar makes another $1. That's how that works. Your hours turn into dollars, then your dollars turn into dollars. That's what investing does. If you do it in retirement, you do it while not paying Uncle Sam, without paying the government for that. You have to pay your employees, but you're not paying the government. Right? Tracking that, not paying the government. Which helps you meet your tax goals. Does that make sense on why the benefits of retaining employees and not paying taxes and helping streamline the cost for your business while giving you more time? Does everyone follow that string of thought? Yeah. We're talking about the retirement goal. This is not a question you can tell me here because I can't ask you you can't tell me your specific financial picture, but ask yourself inside of your own head. What is your retirement goal? Is it continuing to work part-time for your business? Is it Mai Tais on the beach? Is it traveling around the planet? Is it sitting at home and growing a garden? What is your retirement goal? Outside of your business. Step away from running your business your entire life because you will get old. You will get tired. I'm I'm in my 30s and I'm tired. What is your goal? That goal has a cost, has an estimated cost. If you have employees, you plan to contribute to their retirement in order to help you get to your goal. With retirement plans, you have to help your employees along the way too. And are you willing to give more to your employees to make them stay? So who's messed with 401ks? You ever heard about the 401k match? Free money, right? More free money sounds better, right? So 4, 5, 6% matches make you want to stay with that employer longer. If they say, hey, we don't match anything, they're like, maybe. I might, if someone comes along and offers me something better, I might take that. That make sense to everybody? And then also, if you have a retirement plan, does it have, what are the costs in it? Because these things have costs. You're paying an advisor to do something if you have a retirement plan. Different types of retirement plans. This is going to be based on the size of your business. If you're 10 people or less, a SEP IRA is not a bad way to go. You can't contribute as much as a 401k to that, but it's cheaper. It doesn't cost as much to run that. You can still take care of your employees. You can still do it as a small business. You don't have to have a monster 401k. If you're your own employer, you can do an owner-only 401k. You have to do some balancing with that, but you can do that. So you can have your very own 401k. Dentists do it, doctors do it, accountants do it, lawyers do it, engineers do it. That's the field that do this owner-only 401ks. Defined benefit gets a little bit more complex, and you're piecing together different stuff. A little bit more expensive, larger companies. How am I on time? All right. If you have employees, 50 or less is where you're going to go with your simple, which, read off the acronym on that real quick. I didn't know this for the longest, and I thought it was kind of neat. It's a, nope, I don't have it written down. Simple IRA, it's an acronym that I forgot the name of, but it's for like 50 or less employees, about no more than 100. If you're doing a safe harbor, traditional 401k, it's a 401k where you can put as much money into it as you want without the federal government coming after you, but you have to give to employees. The question you have to ask whenever you're setting up a retirement plan is, do you want to take care of yourself or do you want to take care of yourself and your employees? That's the question you have to answer with this. Getting into the details of these is something that's a meeting, really what it is. Custom plans, you can get all sorts of interesting stuff going with custom plans. You can do insurance in them, you can do 401k, you can do IRA, you can mix all these things together. That's based on your needs as a business owner. Don't get it for the sake of getting it. Get the piece that fits right for you. If you can't afford to set anything up, you're not going to have employees, just contribute to an IRA. Do it on your own if you want. You can do it with someone like me. You can do it with E-Trade. All these, just do something for retirement. It saves you on taxes, and it'll save you in the long run. That's the most important thing with that. Everybody follow that? Make sense? Okay. All right, insurance. Be careful with people selling you insurance, right? Insurance has a lot of really good uses. It really does. It's also expensive. It is not regulated the same way as investments. An insurance salesman can sell you things without ever answering to FINRA or the SEC. I'm not saying don't get insurance. I'm saying make sure you know what you're getting. Make sure you need what you're getting. Does that make sense? If you don't have someone that's going to be left behind, insurance may not be something you need. If you're worried about long-term care, you might need different insurance. Either way, what's important is establish wealth. I think you should establish wealth first, look at insurance second. But if you want insurance, make sure it's a product that works for you. We get paid a lot for selling insurance. You go to an insurance salesman, it's like going to a surgeon with a cold. Somehow the answer is surgery. Make sense? Do I follow that? All right. So, ways you can use insurance. There's 2 case studies we have here. Then we're getting towards the part where you can just straight up ask me questions. In this case, it's Sue. She's the owner of like a wedding arrangements boutique store. And she has one employee that works for her who's just critical. That would be that critical employee I was talking to you about a minute ago. She does a lot of floral designing. She knows all the clients. Without her, the business gets smaller. Now think of people that you've worked with, someone that, if you're doing instruction or whatever your business is there someone that is that person for you, or are you that person? If you lose that person, what happens? You lose a lot of your business, right? So there's some things you can do to protect that. This is an intelligent use for insurance. If that person, this isn't disability insurance for them, this is for you to help replace income in your business. You lose that person, there's certain things you can do to ensure their loss. That way, if they're gone for 6-7 months, your revenue drops, you can still make ends meet. That makes sense? So those clients that they were talking with that suddenly are like ticked off and leaving, you have time to replace them or wait for her to come back. Make sense? And then key person life insurance. Okay. This is the one that if you're your own business owner is probably the one to look at. If you have family, if you have employees, you want your business to continue should something happen to you. You have a special skill. Engineering is a special skill. Accounting information is a special skill. Even the dancing and marketing is very special skills, right? If you are gone, that skill is gone. So you can ensure the business can own your insurance, and if something happens to you, it gives your business the ability to replace you.
Is that business insurance deductible?
Yes, it'd be a deductible expense, I believe. But that's an accounting question. Do you have an accountant?
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Yes, it is deductible, right?
All reasonable and necessary cost elements.
There we go. That's the reason you have a team of people working together. I can tell you that you can insure it and you can help replace the loss of income. He can tell you if it's tax deductible. And it should be tax deductible. So, yes, that's tax deductible. You can insure that person for, say you want 2-3 years of revenue replaced should that person go. You can insure. That's an insurable risk. If you have a business and someone comes and talks to you about key person insurance, that's an intelligent conversation. Make sense?
Normally, key person insurance is to buy out the person's share within some kind of partnership or business relationship.
I have that one on here too. That's the next one we'll talk about.
Didn't mean to steal your
Oh, no, you're good. That's actually, so like I said, I want mine to be educational. If there's someone here that has a skill set, by all means, speak up about it. I want to teach whenever I retire. That's my retirement goal, is to teach. I like it. I was a drill sergeant in the Army. I like teaching. So we're going that direction anyway. Okay, so you have, say these two gentlemen here, they at the trucking firm, and they both own 50-50 partners. There's a lot of this in Fayetteville, actually. There's a lot of companies that do this in Fayetteville. So they each own part of the company. They each have a skill. If something happens to one or the other, the person that inherits the business might be spouse or children. Well, the spouse or children, one, may not be any good at running that business. Two, may be completely uninterested in running that business. What they can do is they put up a buy-sell agreement. The business owns a piece of insurance, 2 insurance actually, 1 on each person. And if something happens to one of them, the insurance pays out and allows the other partner to purchase their part of the business. So you have 2 guys that have a skill, 2 gals that have a skill, 1 dies. The other one can now be sole owner of the business. The family doesn't have any say-so in this. It's called a buy-sell agreement. He is absolutely right. It is a great thing.
Actually, put the price on the business today for the future.
Okay, so you're going to want to periodically appraise that for one. That's definitely you want to appraise it. But you, the 2 people, the partners, or even more, there could be 3 or 4 of you. The people that are working together to set up the buy-sell agreement, they agree on a price. Now, I recommend getting it appraised. You got a lot goes into that, evaluating the value of the business. But you would decide. If you say it's $1, I mean, really, you can do that because you've agreed to buy it for $1. Does that make sense? So it's really up to whatever you agree to as the business owners. But I recommend doing it fairly. The downside of that is then the cost of insurance. You're going to want more. If it's higher, you're going to want a larger coverage amount, which costs more. So you want to keep it lean as the people who are both alive and running the business, so it's not expensive. But you also want to make sure that your family's taken care of if something happens to you. So you're balancing some things. That's where you have to keep the business separate from your own personal finances, but also understand what your goals are. Does that make sense? Can you follow that?
It's probably fair to be approximate in that case because you're not really looking at the value of the business.
Correct.
You're looking at the the money when it's paid out goes to the family, the partner who died.
Correct.
So it should be sufficient to look after their needs in the absence of this person who died.
Yes.
The value of the business really is now more material to the surviving partners rather than necessarily the family that doesn't have to.
That is exactly correct. So, what's the value of $1?
It's enough to keep the business in the hands of people.
It's whatever we decide the value is, whatever it's worth to us. So, you as a business owner might say, I want my family to have $1 million if I die. That just became the value of 50% of your business. If you're doing a buy-sell agreement. Does that make sense to everybody? How am I on time? Am I getting close? All right, disability insurance. We don't do disability insurance. There are people in town that do disability insurance. It's usually not very expensive. You as a business owner may not even have to pay for it, but it is worth looking at because that's one of the questions, especially like if you're talking government contracting, people on base doing mechanic work, they get injured a lot. So if you're looking at retaining people, I think disability insurance is absolutely a conversation that's worth having because it does not cost the employee much. And keep in mind, a lot of these costs can be passed on to the employee. You're just offering it. Okay. All right, so here's the last use that I think is for businesses, the big ones that are intelligent for the use of insurance. You can filter more money into retirement using insurance. You're going to pay for it because insurance is expensive, but you have limitations on how much you can contribute to an IRA, a 401k, a simple SEP, any of the retirement plans. There is a limit to what's tax deductible and how much you can contribute. And then if you've got a 401k, that even changes the taxes on that even more. With insurance, you can actually insure yourself and put more money into retirement. So if you're making a lot of money, you're doing very well, and you want to have a larger retirement, you can only save so much, but you don't want to pay taxes on it, that's another use for insurance. Outside of that, unless you want to take care of somebody or have chronic care, should something happen to you whenever you're later in life, be careful having an insurance conversation with people. They'll sell you insurance for everything, and their answer is only you need one. Does that make sense to everybody? That follow? I'm not trying to unsell insurance. I'm just saying be careful whenever you're getting insurance. Someone is trying to make money off you dying someday or not dying. Skip that one too. Oh. Farmers need insurance. That's another one I forgot to mention. I apologize. So if you have a lot of wealth in your business, there's a point where you can actually have to pay estate taxes, where Uncle Sam takes up to 40 to 50% of all of your net worth. You get insurance and have your kids be the owner of it. They can buy your business out of your estate without it being owed to the government. So that's a good use for insurance as well. Make sense? Jeff. All right. So what I covered here today, again, attempting to be educational, is keeping your finances separate, understanding the benefits of having a retirement plan, the benefits to you and your family and to your employees, the cost of an employee, which I don't think anyone ever really covers. An employee does not just cost their hourly rate. You're paying for other things as well. And then some of the uses and warning signs of insurance and a process for maintaining your own budget without necessarily having to pay someone like me for it. Make sense? All right. Anybody have any questions on any of this? Any thoughts, concerns, or anything you would like to discuss? Because we're at the end. Anybody? I know we asked some questions along the way.
If a key person leaves the company, is injured, or just gets another job, how does the insurance coverage work for that when you make a claim? Is it based on the duration of their absence until they're replaced?
So if they just leave for another company, insurance isn't going to help you with that. That's where you're going to have a lawyer, the other part of your team, with the non-compete clause. You might be able to claw back some stuff from them. That's a law question. If something happens to them, yes. Question one time.
Suppose it's an accident. They're injured. They're away from the company for a period of time, or maybe they aren't coming back at all.
They have to have an insurable interest in the person's life. If the person leaves the business, they no longer have an insurable interest in his life, I would think that vacate whatever policy they have and
Yeah, are you asking what happens to the policy or
Well,
if they're gone?
I'm thinking this, in the absence of the policy, the normal approach is you find another employee that's not disclosing you.
Right.
That can take a month. The idea that that's insurable, though, is a new concept.
Okay, so their life is insurable and injury can be insured.
Okay.
Them leaving for a competitor, you're not going to be able to insure that.
Okay.
That they just like go say, hey, I'm going to go work at this engineering firm down the road, you're not going to be able to insure that.
Okay.
But if they get hit by a bus on the way to work, they go on vacation and the plane crashes, they get sick, and they die or they're just out of work, those are insurable insurance.
That you're talking about insurance coverage for them as an employee to cover their absence from the company?
Yes.
Or for the company covering the absence of the key person?
The company can cover the absence of the key person with certain types of long-term disability or absence insurance. You can cover, the company can cover their life, and the company will receive, they will be the beneficiary of that insurance policy to pay to hire somebody new. So those are the two things you can insure. The money ultimately goes back to the business, for the business to have continuity with that person gone. But if they just quit, that's what your 401k is for, to make them stay. Any other questions on it? Did I answer that?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else?
If they quit, and a 401k, does that 401k migrate with them?
They can or they can leave it. So one of the main things where I find business is I say, hey, you left an employee. Where's your 401k? And they say, oh, it's still over there. Then I roll it into an IRA. That's where most of our business
The employer was contributory to that. He can't block that from walking.
Yes, so the employer, if you say with 401k, you're giving them, let's call it 5%. Right? You're giving them, they put 5% of their paycheck in, they put $5 in, you give them $5. You can have them vest into that, where if they leave earlier rather than later, they don't own that money. It goes back to the business. The business owns it. So that's called a vesting schedule. So yeah, you can sort of hold their money hostage.
They're up to a limited time.
7 years.
So 8 years, you leave, then you can't hold that.
No. That's, you can use age a little bit to keep them from vesting. You can use time, and you can have them gradually get more and more vested. If you do no vesting, it's like 3 years. If you do it 20% a year, it's like 5 or 6 years you can do it, and you can let it incrementally come in.
That's called cliff vesting. It has to be fully vested. To be tax deductible, it has to be fully vested.
Yeah.
Since small businesses as well as large businesses can have embezzlements and fraud internally, is there insurance against having internal fraud?
Yes, but that would not be an insurance that a financial advisor would take care of. That would be probably like a company like Aflac, State Farm would handle those types. Because I don't do property, I don't do casualty, like if your boat burns up, I don't do any of that. As a financial advisor, it's all about people. So life insurance, long-term care insurance. I can help you find disability insurance, and then your investments and assets is where my bread and butter is. Make sense? Anybody else?
Is cryptocurrency an investment?
Yes, it is an investment. It's not an investment that I often recommend. It's made a lot of people a lot of money. It really has. It's made a lot of people a lot of money because it's largely unregulated. Because it's not used anywhere specifically. So cryptocurrency got real popular in a lot of third world countries. Like if you go to just the continent of Africa, they don't have, a lot of places have running water or power, but they have cell phones. And you can use Bitcoin on a cell phone. So these countries that, inside of the continent, that don't even have their own currency could start using cryptocurrencies. Because they didn't have a stable enough government to have a dollar of their own. Cryptocurrencies got really, really popular there and in China. So you're looking at a lot of instability, you're looking at a lot of questions, and the second it gets regulated, all that could go away. So yeah, you can make a lot of money on it. You could also wake up tomorrow and have no money in it. So I tell people to stay away from it. that's just kind of my blanket. Edward Jones won't even trade it. We don't even do currencies. So we don't touch it. Anybody else? Questions? Did I answer everything okay? Is this useful to you? Is there anything you'd like me to cover? Anything you recommend I cover with future entrepreneurs? No? Good, sure.
And the last question, of course, is what can we do to help you?
Well, feedback for me anytime I do a presentation is my biggest thing. Obviously, in my business, we work off of referrals, clients answering questions. You can have people call me and just say, hey, this person's calling you. They're not trying to be a client. They just want some of your expertise. I won't be able to give like, hey, invest in this, invest in that. I can't give them that advice, but I'll answer questions all day. I don't mind teaching people. Just have them call me with questions.
Who's your ideal client?
So for me, an ideal client is someone who understands how to save enough money to cover at least about 6 months worth of bills, because it makes no sense to pay me a bunch of commissions to buy you mutual funds or stock and then need the money for a flat tire 3 weeks later. So they don't need to be huge. They just need to understand that I need to have money to pay for a flat tire. Otherwise, I feel bad. I mean, they're wasting money at that point. So my ideal client is someone who at least understands how to save. Make sense?
Understanding how to save and saving are two different things.
That's true. Now I can help people with the saving. Because one of the things you can do is you can move money over to Edward Jones, and then there's that 1 degree of separation getting money for an Xbox. That one extra step you've got to make before you swipe your card. Sometimes that's all people need. That's really all they need. As long as they understand that concept and they're coachable. The more they're willing to know, the easier my job is. Make sense? Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.